You are now listening to Mike's Opinion, Logic Unleashed.
That's right. You are now rocking with the Mike's Opinion podcast. How are you doing? You know, I always want to know how you doing. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Did you eat too much? You know, why do we do that to ourselves? Huh? We just have excuses and reasons to be gluttonous and just stuff our face. I just eat one plate, and you go back get another plate, and you doze off, and then you get another plate, and you get some dessert, and you get some more dessert because you gotta try this dessert, you gotta try that dessert. Look, and then we suffer for a couple more days, and then we make sandwiches, and then we have another plate for 2, 3, 4 days. I don't know how long you eat it. I'm still eating. I'm not eating it no more. I'm not eating it no more. I'm getting old, y'all. You see gray hair? I gotta take better care of myself. Strong, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm all right though. How are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. Look, I'm trying to get back. If you don't know what happened a few episodes ago, listen, you know what's up. But I'm trying to bounce back, I'm trying to just move forward, and I'm doing that. One day, one step at a time. Some days are harder than others. But the show must go on. The show must go on. And that's what I'm here to do today. Today is the world famous Mike's Opinion podcast update episode. You don't get no fluff here. You don't get no gossip. There's plenty of that. Who did this to who? Who punched who? Who did that? Actually, I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, but I just it's just not for clicks. It's probably why I don't get a lot of clicks. Share the show, help the show grow, support the show. I'm looking for my intellects. I guess I'm looking for my NPR crowd, my college crowd, my intellectual crowd, my thinkers, my thinkers. I like to think of myself, like Arsenio Hall, but without a talk show and without no guests, like Rush Limbaugh. Even though he was on the other side of the aisle, I'm bipartisan though. Can we all get along? You know what I'm saying? He was a one-man band. I'm pretty sure he had producers in his ear and writers and all that. I don't have all that. I'm a one-man band. I'm playing the flute, the drums, the saxophone, the guitar. I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all. Writing, producing, arranging, editing, distributing. I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all. You want to help me out? Reach out, mikesopinionshow@gmail.com. But your support is greatly, greatly needed and appreciated. So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe, do all that. If you're watching on YouTube, click right now. Click. Do that. I need your support. If you're a first-time listener, thank you for doing so. Stay, dig in. Got 170 plus episodes. Some of them are just audio. I just started doing video about a year ago. If you got some change, I need new mics, computers. I'd like to hire some people to help produce the show. Maybe, get some guests. I'm a conversationalist. I'm a thinker. I like to communicate. I'm a communicator. I'd love to have some people to talk to. I've talked to my wife, to my sister, to my brother from another mother. I've talked to people here, but I'm not narcissistic. It's not like I like to hear myself talk, but this show is Mike's opinion. I like giving my opinion in hopes of making this world a better place. That is the whole number one goal of this podcast. Make you think, make you feel. I just touched my shirt. Yo, get some merch. Get some merch. Mike's Opinion Podcast T-shirt. You can copy one. You can get this on a mug, on a pen, a hat. You know what I'm saying? You could do that. So that's another way you could support the show. I don't make no real money off of those, but people seeing you with it say, "What's that?" The Mike's Opinion Podcast. You should listen to that dude because he got a lot to say, a lot of meaningful, hopefully, positively earth affecting things to say. Yes. But anyway, I hope you're doing all right. And I hope you continue to do all right. 2024 is right around the corner. You ready? New year, new you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You're gonna get your health up. You're gonna read some more books. You're gonna expand your mind. You're going, calm the hostilities around you. What you gonna do with your life? Because today, right now, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Don't live in the past. Look forward to the future. Now, there's some things that we've all done we can't take back. Some things that that we need forgiveness for. I never been in an AAA program. Shout out to those that do. You have my support, and I wish you well. But I know people that have been in those programs, and they have to go back and like apologize to people. Go on an apology tour, part of 2024. Make right for your wrongs, and they may open up some stuff. Look, you are you. I'm not accountable for you. So if you do an apology tour, and it opens up a bag of worms, don't come back and say, "Yo, Mike of the Mike's Opinion podcast said I should." No, no, no. Make your own choices. Make your own decisions. Now, if you want to talk about it, holla at me. We can get on. We can talk about it. And my positivity is available to you. I want to share my positivity with you. So there's that. But let's go ahead and dig in. Let me get to my notes here. I might have to put on my glasses. I tried to make the font real big on my notes. So I'm going to start out. This is not gossip and fluff. This is the news. But I found it ironic. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Who sung that? Who sung that song? Hit me up on any of the socials. I'm there. Mike's Opinion Podcast. You can find me. It's like rain on a windy day. You know what song I'm saying? So y'all know, born and raised in New York City. I live in Texas now. Texas has been relatively good to me. I can't complain, even though my people from New York say, get out the state. Nigga, get out. Run. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Plus, it's the Wild Wild West. Me and wifey don't leave a hut without it. You know what I'm saying? I wish we didn't have to, but bang bang, I'm not gonna be without it. If you got yours, I'm gonna have mine. Anyway, yeah, I know I digress. I keep saying I need to launch just a new show called I Digress, because that's what I do. I might do that. But anyway, Godly, Texas, which that when you hear the story, just the name of the town, Godly. You can't make this stuff up. Godly, Texas. I live in a suburb of Dallas, Texas. They call it the DFW area, or the DFW Metroplex. It's two cities, Dallas and Fort Worth. Fort Worth to the west, and Godly is just south and west of Fort Worth. Like, you close enough to access Fort Worth in Dallas, but it's also a small little town. So in Godly, Texas, resides a young lady by the name of Ashley Catcherside. Another crazy thing about this story, Catcherside in Godly, Texas. Well, Ashley was rocking with the school on the health advisory board. She was running the sex education. She got a cheerleader group. But there was one problem. Ashley was in hell. Oh, excuse me. I don't want to give hoes no disrespect. Ashley was a whore. And first, that sounds horrible. And I mean nothing by it, because I have love for sex workers. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. You know what I'm saying? But I have no judgment. Do what you need to do or what you want to do. There are prodigies in every area. Okay. And there are some that are more sexually liberated than others. Now, human trafficking aside, pimps forcing chicks into it aside, I think it's a relatively victimless crime. Okay. If a person. I'm not going to, just pigeonhole this and um, exclude just the women only because they're male prostitutes too. I would imagine if you choose to sell your body to someone for their pleasure, then do what you want to do. Some people say it's the oldest profession, and real talk. Now I'm a hetero straight as they come in, but we pay for it regardless. You pay for it directly, like I want some booty, here's some cash, thank you for your booty, have a nice day. Or you want to date this young lady, you find a lady, oh, wait, she looking good, she's attractive to you. You want to get to know her, guess what you got to do? Oh man, I wish I had a hula hoop. You gotta jump through the hoops. Ladies just don't rock with you easy. First of all, you gotta woo her. You gotta gain her interest because people been trying to holler at her since puberty, right? Since she hit puberty, every other dude want to touch. And I get it. I get it. I can only imagine what it's like being a female, being constantly bombarded with advances, right? So they got to put up a bit of a shield because got to protect the flower. Um, so I get it. But then traditionally speaking, because I know it's a lot of chicks like I don't need no man. Boom, just lick it and leave. And leave, look, plenty of chicks out here getting money, and I don't mean no disrespect when I call you chicks, females, ladies, females, the woman and y'all, you know what I'm saying? Getting money, say I don't need no man. Yet still, some of them prefer that chivalry, open the door for them. You know what I'm saying? Don't touch the trash, baby. I got it. I'm gonna take out the trash. Just those gentlemanly things. Excuse me. So, um, but you're gonna have to spit game. You're gonna have to get that interest, right? And then a lot of women like, they don't care how much money they make. You paying for the dinner, for the show, the movie. I need some roses, some candy. I need a few outfits. Take me shopping, fly me out. What you doing for me? Right? Some women, not all of them, generally speaking, right now. Then you better commit. Sometimes you gotta commit your whole life. I think they call it marriage. Now, look, I got partners out there. They can't look, think, smell, talk to another woman. They better not get caught. Don't get caught because it's going to be a problem. So you become a prisoner of love. But I digress. I'm not going there right now today because I know I'm on this tangent. And he's like, yo, what this got to do with Ashley catch a shot in godly text? I'm getting back to that. But I wanted to add some insight that I ain't mad at Ashley. Ashley was involved in the school, but she was also an active sex worker. She kept it on the low low. So if you're wondering, you say, yo, Mike, how did she get found out? She was involved in the school. She was doing all these things. Well, funny you should ask. It came down to some people that probably needed to mind their business. Because Ashley wasn't doing nothing but involving herself in the community in a positive way. Now, what she did in the night in her personal time, just like there's plenty of teachers and other professional professions that people have found out they got an OnlyFans and they get fired. Like, what's wrong with sex? What's wrong with expressing yourself with body? If that's not interfering with your job, with your duties, what's the problem? So the problem here was other people on the board and that's involved in the ISD and independent school district had a problem because she had convictions. Apparently, the background check didn't catch it. They blaming the background check company now. Blah 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 blah. Maybe Ashley's like, yeah, I'll break you off a little something if you see past that. Her husband supports her, by the way. She's married and a hell. Anyway, I don't judge. I don't judge. Do what you want to do. Do you? But so Ashley, who also goes by the name of Lola Bree, if you happen to be in Godly and you're looking for some companionship, she's an escort and she's probably, gonna be needing clients more than ever now. I would imagine. Speculating. But she kept, saying she runs several businesses. And some nosy ass parents, well, what does she do? We must know. Do you think it was a Karen? Hmm. It's hard not to think it was a Karen because I've run into a few of those. I've got a Karen on video interaction that I've been reluctant to put out. I might put that out, but I'm just anyway. Nosy parents started digging around. They had her email address because she was involved in different activities. And Lola, tip number one, don't use your same email address that you're doing your do with for school stuff. I mean, come on. You gotta be smarter than that. But that's how she got found out. And they booted her off the boards and all of this stuff. And I just I I nosy people became suspicious. Now, certain times that suspicion can weed out what I deem real criminals or real threats. But isn't it ironic that a prostitute who got convicted twice back in 2012 and 2016 for prostitution, so Ashley been in the game for a minute. Mm. Mm. That's a that's a minute. You must enjoy your job. At this point, you must think you got a husband, you involved in school, you probably must enjoy that. And there's nothing wrong with that, in Mike's opinion. Um, but shout out to Ashley, aka Lola. I wish you well. According to one of the sites that these nosy ass parents checked into, Lola was active last month and had reviews from that website from this year and dating back a decade. Look, the vagina is an amazing thing. It's amazing. 10 years. I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to say, the woman, females, y'all are incredible. I have two children. I was there both of their births. And watching, 8 pounds of baby come out and a month and a half later, whoosh, snap back. Oh, it's amazing. Amazing. And I mean, no disrespect to anyone. I have the utmost respect for humans and for females in particular. Y'all amazing. And in the words of James Brown, it's a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. Because women, yes, nah. Ooh. Mm. So moving on in this update episode, Troy Goldschmidt. He might, like, when I read this story, it was like, yo, they was pushing it like a positive, feel good story. And I looked at it like this could be the wackest marriage proposal ever. Imagine for a second, you, the young lady, riding with your dude, he driving, and they're white. So there's that. I can't imagine any brothers wanting to do this, any black people, Latino people, Native American people, any other than white people wanting to do this. But Troy the businessman decided it was a good idea to involve the police department and in his marriage proposal. And he got lit up. Whoop whoop. Got pulled over. It's cold. It's November where they at. And I'm trying to say, I can't remember. I didn't. In Wisconsin in November. It's cold. So this just happened a week or so ago, right? So he involved the police to do a fake traffic stop. Like they went, I saw the video. They went through the whole thing like it was a real traffic stop. Pulled him out the car, you know. Then they pull her out the car with her back facing, and then she keep looking back. Even though they're white, you could tell this girl. Her name is Moriah, 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 and she keeps like looking back, right? Like, are you shot? Are you okay? So the cop acts like he's putting his hands behind his back, and she looks back and she's engaging with this other officer who happens to be a female officer. She turns around again, dude's on one knee, and he's out in the cold, and she's laughing, but she's cold and nervous. Please let me know if I'm the only one that thinks this shit is whack. This whack. It's whack. It's in the middle of the street, your own neighborhood. It's cold outside. She asked the cop, "Can she put on a jacket?" You think cops. The cops is cops. They will shoot white people too. But yo, Troy, why do you think that was a good idea? I don't know. It doesn't seem because I cannot imagine one black person involved to do this. I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, she said yes. His parents happened to be in a restaurant. He had a dozen flowers at a hotel. Look, if you budget conscious, I don't know. They say he's a businessman. I don't know. Maybe he's not a successful businessman. It's hard making money out here these days. So I get it. But that just seemed like a whack proposal. Let me know. Mike's Opinion Show at gmail.com or hit me up on anywhere the socials, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, any place. Let me know if you think this was a good proposal or a whack. Like this proposal was booty. You know what I'm saying? Yo, moving on. So I know I've been promising for like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years that I'm doing this, UFO alien series. And it's just not enough time in the day. I've got some of it recorded, quite a bit of it actually. It's almost finalized. It's like my baby. It's like something I really want to have. I want it to be great and memorable, and so this is why I haven't released it. But this story, you ever just look up day or night, just look up and just you ever try to close your eyes and imagine the size of this planet that's spinning at about 1,000 miles an hour? You ever think about why we are here? What is this? What is this whole existence? Existential questions, right? Well, the James Webb Telescope, after the Hubble telescope, saw and detected DMS on this planet about 120 light years away. And what is DMS, you might ask? Dimethyl sulfide is what it is. And on Earth, the only time you get or detect DMS is when there's life. That's the only time you see this element, DMS, dimethyl sulfide. They have detected DMS on a planet 120 light years. Now, I have to just tell you, 120 light years is literally trillions and trillions, to be exact, 720 trillion miles away. Just think about that for a second. 720 trillion miles away. But we can see that, Joy. We can see what they're doing. You know, the planet passes in front of the sun. We can detect stuff now. We got these methods. I believe they might be speculative. Maybe not. I don't know. But this planet already checked all the other boxes to see if it's habitable. Temperature, the presence of carbon, and potentially liquid water. I already checked all those boxes. And now there's this. At the very least, it's plankton, like little organisms, maybe an ocean. Y'all already know. I, I can't even say I believe. I know that we are not the only planet with life on it. Now, whether there's intelligent life, there's planets out there way older than ours. If a planet with human like beings or intelligent beings was just 10,000 years ahead of us, think of where we've come in the last 500 years. Since the 1500s. TVs, airplanes, high definition, internet, computers, all of these things in just that 5 centuries. Not even that. Probably don't have to go that far back. But let's give it a round number, 500 years. And look at where we're headed rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. Can you imagine just 1,000 years from now? In the year 3023, what it's going to be like? We already got self-driving cars, drones. Look, they printing body parts, 3D printing. Look, now, right now, there are very what I deem arrogant physicists, astrophysicists, all of these scientists. And I say arrogant only because they act like there's no, many of them. We know it all. We know all the physics, and there's no way we can ever travel from, star to star. Miss me with that. There's a lot we do not know. There's the wormhole theory. You can bend space like a piece of paper, and it gets complex. I don't claim to be a scientist or scientific. I just claim to be logical. Like the tagline of the Mike's Opinion podcast is logic unleashed. Let it off the chain. Let the logic flow. And just looking up. And I've only been in a place with a really dark sky a few times. Like, I'm from New York, too much light pollution. Here where I live, too much light pollution. But when I lived out in Cali, I was out in the woods. I lived out in the woods for a minute, and I saw the stars like I'd never seen them before. If you are in a dark place with no light pollution and you see how many stars, it's touching, it's awe-inspiring, it's miraculous, it's amazing. There is no possible way that there isn't other life in our universe. No possible way. So when I read this story, and with the government, acknowledging UAPs and UFOs, if you look at all of this information that's being disseminated and slowly released to us, the GP, the general public, It seems like there's an agenda. It seems like it's intentional. Like little by little, they're letting us know that we not the only ones. They're letting us know so it doesn't cause a panic, right? Because what we've been fed, generally speaking, if there is proof of life beyond this planet, everything changes. Things change if that's a fact. Where does religion? Where does technology? Where do these things fall then? Where do they uh, go then? How are they reapplied and reinterpreted? So it's a trickle, a little bit here. Lately, it seems like every week, every couple of weeks, every month, there's some new information like this. This DMS. We have found a planet that we detect a substance on that can only be produced if there is life. That's saying there's life on that planet. Now, like I said, it might be plankton. It may be a civilization way more advanced than we are, but they are carbon based and most likely biological. The planet name, in case you want to look it up, is K2 18b, which they always come up with these crazy. They could call it DMS 1. Every time I say DMS, I can't help but think of DMX. Shout out, rest in peace to DMX. In my opinion, one of the best who ever did it. You know what I'm saying? Amazing, amazing story to me. Now, when I first started, I said, I don't really, talk the fluff. I don't really talk, the gossip. But I listen to other podcasts out there. Uh, Joe Button's podcast is one of them. Snap Judgment is another one. Shout out to Snap Judgment. Yo, Glenn Washington, Snap Judgment, all them dudes. Um, there's a lot of podcasts. I'm not just gonna go down the list. But Joe, I'm from New York. I'm a hip hop head. I was there when it was born. I know several people. I've been in the tunnel, the LQ, the rooftop. I was been in all the jams. I know some rappers. I know famous people, but Joe's entertaining. That's why his podcast is so successful. He added Melissa Ford, which was a nice touch. His crew, in this second iteration, they're doing well. Um, but Joe just recently got lit up. He got punched in the face. Joe's got a history of getting punched in the face. It seems like, from what I've learned, and I'm going somewhere with this. So stay with me. According to Joe, he learned the lesson the hard way. I don't know why he had to learn it this way. But when you got money and you got fame and popularity, in this world, you can't be just running around in strip joints in different places, especially with the shit that he be saying that be coming out of his mouth. He's fortunate that he didn't get popped, that it wasn't worse. But he claims he's going to beef up or get some. I can't even say beef up. He never had any. Going to get some, but you just can't be running around dolo. You can't be running around on solo missions like you just the average Joe. Pun intended. Listening to that episode, him breaking down what happened, he said he didn't get jumped. It made me once again think about, and I probably need to do yet another episode on this subject. Humanity as a whole. I've often asked the question, what is wrong with us? Violence, wars, murders, rapes, fights, bombs, missiles, stabbing, shoot. Why? What? I'm from the hood. I'm from Harlem, from the projects. I'm not naive. I'm no stranger to none of that shit. But it's illogical to me. Horribly, horribly illogical to me that we're not better. You know what's going on over in Gaza and Israel and the Palestinians and it's sickening. I don't claim to be well versed in the history of that. I know vaguely. I won't even say more than vaguely. I know some of the history. I know why the fighting's been going on for so long. Um, why is money so important to us? Why can't we just pool everything and share it with everybody on the planet? There should not be one human being without clean water, safe shelter, and food. There should not be. I'm not weak, not soft. Because you're a loving, compassionate, empathetic, caring human being does not make you soft or weak. And if it does, then I don't care. I know I will hold me and my family down if I need to. And at any given minute, I got that thing with me when I step out that door and in the house. And I will protect me and mine ferociously. If given the opportunity, though, let's talk about this. Why are you doing this? What you need a job? You need $20 or something? You want drugs? You want alcohol? You hooked on what you need? But if you don't leave me no choice, I'm gonna do what I got to do. So I understand all of that. But like Michael Jackson song, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Suppose all of us that looked in the mirror started with the person we saw in the mirror and said we're gonna be loving, caring, generous, empathetic. But it gets deeper than that. The reason why I mentioned the Joe Button podcast is because just listening, I'm a black man in America. Just listening to black men, like, where's Wakanda at? I know it's, you said, Mike, it's Black Panther, it's fictional, and rest in peace to the original Black Panther. And I'm sorry, his name like escapes me, and I can't go out like that. So I gotta find out just for a second. Hold on for a second. I gotta say this man's name. Please bear with me for a second because he passed, and I can't not say his name. Chadwick Boseman, brave. Nobody know Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace. And I'm sorry I didn't even know that. It just slipped my mind. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Wakanda, and I saw Black Panther 1 and 2. I think I got a third one coming out. It portrayed a technologically advanced, thriving, peaceful, for the most part, society of Black people. Say what you want about Bill Cosby. Then there's Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, you know, um, Thurgood Marshall. There's a list of brothers out there that have yet to be marred, caught up, scarred. And I look inward, right? Like this podcast and, you know, certain things that I do in my life. I'm trying to spread love and positivity, but I don't expect people to be saints or or priests or monks. And this is no disrespect to Joe. I doubt that he ever hear this, but if he does, yo, Joe, it's no disrespect. But this all you do is go to the strip club. I think there was some dude, I can't remember his name, but he just called out like Meek Mill and Rick Ross and them talk about, on one hand you're saying you help the community, but you still put out this rap. Like these lyrics, this music is powerful. It's more than just entertainment for a lot of these people. Um, I read a story today of two 35-year-old brothers. They robbed a Metro PCS and a Walgreens. They got away with like $900 from the Metro PCS and like $1,200. And I'm thinking to myself, you're 35, you're just dumb. You just dumb. How much money you gonna get from a CVS? I mean, a Walgreens and a Metro PCS store. Aim high if you gonna rob something. I know I digress. I'm trying to say a lot here, but I'm doing my part as a black man to try to advance the race, not the culture. Because there's still only a few of us sprinkled out in the decision makers, the lawmakers, the law enforcers, the real rulers. So you say, oh, we up, I got a chain, Maybach, got a couple houses, I got some money tucked, and I got 8 chicks. So what? Now, don't get me wrong. Hold on. Generational wealth is that. It's generational wealth. And a lot of these rappers is getting old and they got kids. And their kids ain't growing up in the hood. That's a plus. That's a good thing. A lot of them will be considered silver spooners to some point, right? That's great. But why can't it even start with us, the OGs? And you say, yo, Mike, you're a dreamer. Yes, yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, well, what do you do with your time? I try to affect the world positively. And it's my personal interest. Strip joints, I'm married, but my wife would have no problem if I wanted to. She'd probably go with me. It's just not my interest. Um, I'm trying to do legacy shit, not only for my personal benefit, but for the benefit of humanity and for the benefit of Black people, Asian people, Latino people, all people, really, humanity, because I'm of the ilk of the good Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And, I prefer to judge people by the content of their character than the color of their skin or even by their past. I look at your actions, I look at what you do. Humans can't be trusted, just to be just keep it 100. Not yet. There are some, but This is why it's always been no surprise. I've been stabbed in the back, this, that, and another happened. When somebody does something to me, yeah, I mean, it's still upsetting, but to me, there's no surprise. Because when you're dealing with human beings, if you don't realize you're immediately dealing with somebody imperfect. So a human being could promise you fidelity, loyalty, faithfulness. I'm gonna pay you back that money. But humans are human. So if you expect any level of perfection, then you on a road that's headed straight for disappointment. Now, I'm not saying don't try to hold people accountable and don't you yourself be accountable. Of course, we want to be that. But humans is humans. Humans just do human shit. So there should be no real surprise like, he cheated on me. Girl, if you don't act like you ain't know, he's human. And the same thing when you're a chick, you're like, oh man, I've seen some dudes lose their mind. They find out their girl cheated. She's human. What I'm really saying is what I'm saying, but I'd like to see black men in particular be better. I'd like to see us be more organized, more together, not petty. Strength in numbers. OG talking, right? Try to tell that to, I recently tried to tell that to a 21-year-old. I'm not going to say his name. He probably knows who, yeah, he knows who he is. But I saw, he wanted to smoke and drink, pop pills almost every day. Yet he's trying to be a businessman and a new father. Knowing what I know now, I ain't say quit all of it. I just said slow down. It don't have to be a daily habitual thing. Rest in peace to Nate Dogg, but smoke weed every day was the worst advice you could give. Snoop Dogg is an anomaly, and he's in that space. He turned smoking weed into a career. I don't think getting high should be a daily endeavor. That's all I'm saying. Shout out to Joe and Ish Ice, Melissa Ford, Parks, all of them people on the Joe Button podcast. But I just had to say that, like I said, no shade at Joe. I hope your hand, fingers, all that is all right. Um, and I hope you move expeditiously in getting some security. Because the shit that flow out your mouth, it's just a matter of time before somebody's going to try to, you know, do more than punch you in the face. So there's that. Moving on. Yo, so Tatiana Jefferson. If you don't remember that name, which you should, October 2019, she was killed in her own house while playing video games with her nephew. The policeman was that shot her was convicted. He's doing 11 years. Happened here in Texas in Fort Worth. And shout out to the mayor, who's a relatively new mayor, white lady. I think her name is Maggie or something like that. I think I have it here, as a matter of fact. But her nephew is about to get a $3.5 million settlement. Her nephew was 8, was right there playing video games with her when it happened. And just this year, he lost his aunt, Tatiana, and then just this year in January, um, his mother Amber died of congestive heart failure. So this little boy is, I don't know, 11, 12 now, lost his auntie, who was obviously kicking it with, close with, and lost his mom's. And the city of Fort Worth did the right thing. The council approved it, and they say with with excuse me, with interest and stuff, that 3.5 million is going to be about 6 million. And they set up a college fund. Um, yeah, the mayor's name is Maddie Parker. I wanted to just mention that because I could have seen, Texas is Texas. It's got a long history. I remember thinking New York was a planet, and people would visit from down south. You know, it took me a while to get out that mindset, and it's really, I don't limit myself to Earth really. It's my hood, my hood, my hood. It's limiting. Yes, it affects who you are because you were raised there in that environment. I get it, but I like to be, you know, intergalactic. I represent the Milky Way galaxy. But this city council could have easily, you know, made it harder or denied it altogether. But there's some young black politicians involved, and they made that happen. So prayers, positive vibes, all the stuff go to this young boy, um, who is, going to be a millionaire. And little Zion, I hope you well. I can tell you personally that I know no amount of money can replace your auntie and your mom. I know that all too well. So uh, I hope you can go on, and I hope you go on to do great things. And shout out to the city of Fort Worth for doing that. Yeah. So I'm about to wrap this up, but I've got a few stories that I want to share with you that is positive. One is about Judge John Phillips, out there in Cali, out there in Cali, doing this thing. He started Rancho Cielo, and it's out in Salinas, California. And this judge said, it was just sick of sending kids to prison. And before I go with the story, I just want to stop right there because now there are just evil people. I'm like I said, I'm not naive. There's some people that are beyond rehabilitation that need to be in prison. I wish that were not the case. I know a lot of dead people. I know a lot of imprisoned people, confined people, people that ain't never getting out. But too often, there is a cycle. Grow up in the hood, get into trouble, go to jail, go to prison. Jail and prisons, which are two different locations, none of them are rehabilitative. none of them contribute to you being better when you come out. That's just a fact. The recidivism rate in America is 40%, meaning every 4 out of every 10 are going back. So this judge, John Phillips, said, I was tired of doing that and I wanted to do something about it. So in 2003, 20 years ago, he decided to do something different. He built up and started Rancho Cielo. Now, I'm always, when I read stories like this, yes, it's great. He's taken, teenagers, young people that's on the wrong path, teaching them vocations, educating them. They got equestrian stuff, horses and all kind of stuff out there. It's wonderful. Ironically, he bought an old prison and changed it. So that's great. That's great. But like the Boy Scouts, I'm always, like I said, cautiously optimistic because I've heard too many stories of good intentions that either had the intention to, led to, or bred fuck shit, just to put it mildly. You know, molestation, abuse, these settings that are supposed to be safe havens for our vulnerable, our misguided, those that are in need of guidance and assistance end up being victimized in these places. You know, like I said, Boy Scouts, church, Catholic Church comes to mind. So I don't know that there's anything like that that has ever been reported or happened. So I'm not saying Judge John Phillips, who's of course retired, and anything like that has happened at Rancho Cielo. I'm not saying that there's anything. So I don't want that to be misconstrued. I'm just telling you when I read this story and I got a couple of YouTube videos out there. When I watched, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm hope this is not happening. I'm hoping those types of things are not happening. I'm hoping that it's pure, it's right, and they continue to succeed and get the mission um, accomplished repeatedly, which is taking the most troubled youth that was in the system, get them out the system and on a road to being great societal participators. Y'all hear this? Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear. My chair is squeaking, and I don't know if my microphone is picking it up. Support the show, please. Please support the show. Thank you. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal is in the show notes. Click, 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 done. So I need new stuff. A chair that doesn't make noise while I'm recording would be great. You could just send me a chair. That would be great. A nice, comfortable office chair, preferably leather. Ergonomic would be great. You want to know where to send it? Shoot me an email, mikespinionshow@gmail.com. I will gladly give you my address. Yes, I will. So, but this is a really good situation from what I can see. And I wanted to expound and say, what if The judicial system did this. And once again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to say it again. I am not naive. Some of the people need to be locked up. Because if you let them out, they're just going to keep killing or raping or rob. They just ain't going to stop. I know this. But I am eternally optimistic. I'd like to think that there are many more. The percentage leans to the increase side. There are many more, especially the young ones, the teenagers, early 20s, that if they just had some love, if they just had some help, some guidance, some companionship, and were educated in formal education or vocation or trade, something like that, that they know somebody cares. And that you ain't got to bang, you ain't got to gang bang, you ain't got to rob and steal and sell drugs. And I'm not judging. Because I know where I came from. I know I'm the lucky one, but I know that I had love in my house. I know that reading and education was paramount and a priority for me, for the people that raised me. They made sure I was going to get my education. They made sure every day I was loved and hugged and kissed and said, I love you. I'm proud of you. A lot of people don't have that. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like growing up without that. So I know I was lucky. I know I was blessed, fortunate, whatever you want to call it. But we need more Rancho Cielos. We just can't throw a few dollars at the Boys and Girls Club and say, y'all do it. I'd like to see a Rancho Cielo within 100-mile radius of every inner city in America. Because the schools themselves seem to be failing. When I read this story, that's what it made me think. All of those thoughts. But I was about to say something. I'm going to try to share the link. This is from this website called the Good News Network. I suggest you check it out every day. Because stories like this, like the one Rancho Cielo and this one, excuse me, that I'm about to tell you about, I'm just going to just tell you the title. This judge gave this drug dealer a second chance 16 years ago. He said, I see something in you, and I want to give you a second chance. That former drug dealer was back in front of the judge recently, getting sworn in as an attorney. That's what's up. Stories like this you don't see on the news. All we got is who got robbed, who got raped, who got killed, what the war is doing, just all the negativity. I think this should be mandated for every news. I was going to say major, not just the major news networks, but especially the major news networks. But they should all have to begin and end with a positive news story instead of always trying to hunt down the dirt or the scandal. Now, there's some stuff the lid need to be blown off on. I get it. But yo, start with a good story, end with a good story. Lester Holt, shout out to him. He used to do that. Black major news anchor. So the positivity is out there. I will try to include the link in the show notes, but just search good news. And I almost said that search engine name. I'm not saying no names because I ain't sponsored. Support the show, please. If you can't do so financially, like, share, comment, follow, subscribe. Do it right now. Click, click, done. Um, I hope you're doing okay. I really do. I did have another story here. I almost forgot to scroll down. It's about a IV bag that does not need gravity. You know, you see IV, it's on the stick because IVs use gravity. Like it drips physically drips down. They got one that you could lay on you. These South Korean students made. I forgot. I wanted to share that. Innovation. Another good story. But I always like to leave on a good note. But I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're doing better tonight. I hope you're doing okay. And I hope you are doing great. Um, Christmas is coming. If you're giving gifts, I advise you shop early. Black Friday, Cyber Monday just passed. Hope you got some good deals. There will be more deals. There's always a deal. There's always a sale. Always. I don't know if you knew that. Stuff is always on sale. Somewhere. But I hope you have a good life going on. I hope you're doing okay. And if you're not okay, I hope you find a pathway to okay. I thank you so much for listening and watching on YouTube. Get you some merch. And I'll be back next week. I'm Mike. This is the Mike's Opinion Podcast. Thanks again for listening and for watching.
Thank you so much for listening to Mike's Opinion. Logic Unleashed.